The AMPC LambEx Feedlot Carcase competition was an idea that was born from the LambEx committee. The concept was to showcase what technologies are out there in the industry under the same environment, benchmarking those lambs all the way through.
There's so many variables between input costs and wool types, breed type within breeds, and then within the breeds, the genetic selection for high performance and average performance. So each of those has a story to tell. We want to tell the whole story.
To be able to get the eating quality traits captured that TFI is going to be doing is just critical to give my clients some real life data that's relevant and that they can use for their future breeding selections.
An e-commercial producer, well, most of them won't have any understanding of how they are outperforming. They've obviously been making ram selection decisions based on all the productivity traits, and maybe earning quality was part of them. So it'll be really interesting to see the outputs of that. And importantly, as part of this competition and more broadly the MSA program and commercialisation, we'll start to see individual carcass feedback back to producers. So that information is critical for making future on-farm decisions to improve productivity and performance.
Yeah, Thomas Feeds International's involvement is processing the lambs that are coming out of the Thornby feedlot. We chose the stall site here because of the technologies that we've got here, which will further the carcass comp's results.
With the introduction of electronic ID, we can sort of now follow the lambs through. This carcass competition will actually allow the producers to get individual carcass feedback data, so tracking size and things in their genetics.
Once they get here, we're looking at 13 different breeds and 30 odd producers in the process. We process them commercially, so we're not dividing them up into all their little groups. They're all coming through as one big cohort. Make sure that we can compare the animals together. They come through the process floor into the hot DEXA unit. They get their lean meat yield there, and then MEQ, then across the scales to be weighed and fat score, and then into the chillers.
If we can identify some of our better wool types, our better performing sales, our better performing growth rates on the wool side of things, you may be able to tweak your operation to maximise the benefits out of what our wool brings. Because not a lot of people give benefit to our wool. Our sheep have got to be shorn going in, so I really do think that if we can get the most out of that, that will just be adding to our bottom line.
For the producers, there is tremendous opportunity to actually get real-time carcass measurements of their lambs.
The competition's a showcase not just of the strength of lamb genetics across Australia, but it's also a demonstration of how innovative technologies for measuring yield and eating quality can support carcass profitability and meet the demands of the global consumer.
We have never seen a carcass competition of this scale before, run under commercial conditions. It'll showcase, I guess, what is possible and also highlight some barriers that we see in the industry and some, I guess, some issues that may present themselves. And that's what LambEx is all about, is to actually try and, I guess, challenge and improve and progress the industry going forward. And hopefully this competition will highlight some aspects that we can work with going forward.
I just think it's a fabulous competition. I'm really looking forward to seeing the results going forward and really hoping LambEx might be able to have this component biannual.
Well, wow, thanks Jess. Isn't it fantastic, fantastic conference that we're seeing here today? And from a TFI perspective and a personal perspective, I've been absolutely chuffed to be involved in this carcass comp. A lot of the things that we've done in this have actually been with me for a long time, as a lot of people know within the industry. So we'll get on into it. But there's a couple of things, a couple of people we really need to thank, and especially AMPC for being the major sponsor within this. The MLA and MSA, and especially Dave Packer and his team, have certainly been involved in the collecting of the data and also in regards to analysing the data and help analysing the data. The Thornby team, like Alex and Fiona and their manager Mel, put in a lot of time in around that feedlot side of it and did a great job getting those lambs down to the stall plant. And the stall plant, Shane Whitman and his team down there, who helped us process those lambs over 2.5 days. collecting the data, allowing us to hold up some of the kills at certain times so that we could make sure that the data that we got out of there was spot on. But also, we had a bit of help from the Adelaide Uni team that came down and helped us collect that data, so a big special thanks to them as well. And Elkie Hocking. Elkie Hocking was the other one that helped us in around that. Nutrient Wool, Paul Bergmeister, certainly on that wool valuing componentry, he was the lead on that. And then finally, Jason Thornhill and the Trans Australia team, who kindly donated the carrier componentry of that got all those lambs from who spread across multiple states into the Thornby feedlot at that time. So a very big thank you to Jason and the Trans Australia team. It's not working? How's that? So, righto, let's get down to the tic tacs. 1,500 lambs, 3 states, 16 breeds. The weightings for the feedlot were, and the parameters around that, they came in groups of 50, bred in 2023, and were all woolly lambs. The delivery of those lambs to the Thornby feedlot was the 1st of December 2023, and then they were fed for 70 days. All on the same ration, all commercially through the feedlot. The induction weight for them coming into the feedlot was between 35 and 42 kilos. Then when we did the analysis of it, we worked out the percentage of animals that hit that spec. The overall weighting for the induction was 25%. We then saw those animals, fleece weighted and appraised them, and Paul Burgermeister, as I mentioned, was the one that did that. And then they put a dollar value on that lot of animals. And that was 10% of the score. And then the big one was around the average daily gain. So they were measured on the weight on the way in, weight on the way out, and we got the average daily gain. And that obviously, from a feedlot perspective, is the major weighting at 65%. Then when they ended up down at stall at the processing facility, we ran them through the DEXA machine, the hot DEXA, and to get the lean meat yield. And then we had the MEQ for the IMF. And the great thing about doing that, we had hot standard, as you saw in Pete's thing, we had hot standard carcass weight, lean meat yield and IMF. We could then run them through the MSA Mark II model to get in the cut space grading to get an MSA index, which we've had in the cattle industry for a fair while. So the grid that we settled on was a 22 to 30 kilo dress weight, and the reason we did that, it was a combination of both export and domestic market. And we weighted that as 30% weighting. So it was the percentage of animals that hit that spec. Then we looked at lean meat yield and we decided we wanted a 56% and up in that, and that was weighted at 20%. Fat score, because it's still a commercial comp, we kept fat score in there, 6 to 20 millimetres, and we weighted that at 10%. The MSA index from an eating quality perspective, we were looking at a 59 plus on the index, which gave us a 4-star loin, and that was 40% of the score. And then what we did is we had a winner out of the feedlot and a winner out of the carcass comp, and then we weighted those as well to get a final score. The feedlot weighting was 30%, and then the carcass overall weighting was 70%. So right, I will now call David Packer to the stage. And what Dave will do, we'll go through some of the results and analyse the results for you. Thanks, Dave.
And this fella. Thanks very much, Mark. I'll give you that one. Yeah, so some pretty exciting insights, and what's probably most exciting is sharing eating quality information with you. So this is the first time we've done eating quality as part of a lamb carcass competition at this scale. So that's very exciting, and obviously Pete's warmed us up to this exciting segment. I'll kick off in the feedlot outcomes at first, and I've bunched them all together in this table. We've got average daily gain, and that's by animal. We've got wool, and that's done by the whole vendor lot, and compliance of the whole lot as well. I've got the average in the first column and range, and for you number nerds, I've got the standard deviation there, but that basically talks to how much the spread is there. So the average daily gain was 0.29 kilos a day, but we had a fairly big spread. So from basically animals not growing, obviously had some conditions or health conditions going on there, all the way out to an eye-watering 0.53 kilograms per day. and basically 60, let's call it 2/3 of the population is sitting 0.08 kilograms a day either side of that average. From a wool perspective, we had a lot of breeds and composites coming into this competition. And as you can see there, and probably no surprises, we had some wool getting really up that fine end at 16 micron all the way through to 34 micron, which obviously meant we got a big spread in the value of that wool from nearly nothing all the way through to $22 per head, with an average of $9. Entry compliance, primarily around that entry weight of 35 to 42 kilos. We had about an average of 60% compliance, but again, a really big spread across the producers. So some of the producers, they're getting 100% compliance to that entry weight in their lots, all the way down to just 8%. And a lot of that, from what I was told, is lambs being underweight and not meeting that specification. Moving into the carcass, so we had, again, no surprises based on what I've just shown you, that we had a bit of a spread in that hot carcass weight. So that minimum 22 kilo in the LambEx competition grid, we had 16% of the lambs not meeting that minimum of 22 kilos. Then out the other end, we had 22% of those lambs who blew out above that 32 kilo spec. Fat score, as Mark said, anything above 20 millimetres or fat score 5, we had 10% of those lambs that blew out on that grid as well. I won't go into this too much, but as Pete shared it with you, but we haven't really had anything to determine and differentiate carcasses on eating quality. We do know, and Pete showed it there before, there is variation out there, and with variation we can capture value. And what's really enabled this is the technology to be able to capture those traits. So it's very exciting that we're on the eve of commercialising this MSA model. It is based on consumer sensory testing. Almost 500,000 sheep meat samples have been eaten, and that's seen as the gold standard. And globally, that's actually seen as the gold standard for measuring eating quality. It's not an instrument sitting in a lab, it's untrained consumers. We use lots and lots of repetition to have confidence in that data. And it's really just the relationships on what we measure on those animals to what those consumers tell us. And Pete's already put this up. We've seen it, we've got the hot standard carcass weight. Lean meat yield has a negative impact on eating quality. That's why we need to have it as part of the model. You can't just use IMF only. You need to have all the combination of these factors to predict eating quality. Obviously, intramuscular fat is a strong determinant and positive for eating quality, stimulation, aging and packaging. And we get these 9 different outputs. It's not a single carcass grade like you do with USDA grading. It's a cut by cook outcome. So at the moment, grill and roast and across a variety of cuts of the carcass. So we call it a 9 cut by cook model that we've got now, and we'll soon have a 28 cut by cook model as we further develop and progress into that stage, and hopefully beyond lamb as well. We'd like to see a day where we're packing sheep meat based on eating quality. So this is from the actual results of the competition, and this is just one of those cuts. It's the loin and it's grill at 5 days of aging. So we've got the meat eating quality score. So this is the prediction of the lambs out of the competition, and it ranges from just under 55 to 75. So we've got about 20 points different just in that 1,400 odd lambs, a 20-point difference in eating quality. A consumer can pick up 4 or 5 points, so they can tell the difference between a 60 and a 65. So there's absolutely variation in eating quality. And the other thing that consumers have told us, and it's very much the same in the beef world, good everyday or a 3-star eating quality is 64 and below, and then 4-star loins are 64 and above. And 46 is actually a fail in both beef and lambs, and so fortunately we didn't get down to that range in this competition. But the value comes for a brand owner and a processor to utilise the MSA model. We don't want to dictate to them where they draw their cut-offs for eating quality. We leave it up to the brand owner. And we've seen this in the MSA beef model. And this is just an example of what a brand owner might do and how they might use MSA. They might choose, well, I want to pack the top 25% of the loins in that competition into my premium brand. And then I'll pack everything else in my everyday brand as well. So that's how the potential we have here. But as a producer, you don't want 9 different numbers coming back on your carcass feedback on lamb. So what we've gone and developed is an MSA sheep meat index. So we've weighted all those scores and the outputs that we get on those on each of those carcass, and we provide a single number back as a benchmarking tool. So we've had that for the beef industry, and it's really helped producers progress and understand where they can make improvement in both genetics and on farm as well. And now we have the sheep meat MSA index. So how did we perform in the carcass comp? We saw a range of 54 all the way through to 65. And those who have been around MSA index for beef know that one index points makes a lot of difference, and it's very hard to move that forward. We had an average of 59.46. We split that out by vendor. So these are all the picks or the vendors and the lots that entered into the competition. And these are box plots. So the green bar, or the green box, in the middle is where 50% of the population, and then the extreme lines is the extreme 25%. With the average is the black bar in the middle. So we can see there's still quite a bit of variation. Even those leading producers who had the highest MSA index on their lot, there's still a bit of variation. So the more we can get that variation down and push that MSA index higher, the better we are. And we had some eye-watering individual lambs. So there's one up there at 64 and one not far behind at 63, almost 63.5. As I said before, lean meat yield, important to account for that in the eating quality calculation. It's obviously used for processing, and yield is important on the carcass, but it's also used in that eating quality calculation. So we had an average lean meat yield of 59.2 from the lambs in the competition. But it's important, and we know this from genetics, that we don't focus on one single trait. We don't want to be just focusing on lean meat yield and growth, or eating quality on the other hand. So how are we performing on multiple different traits that drive value for those carcasses? So we've got the MSA index up the side and lean meat yield percentage, and each one of those dots is a lamb from the carcass competition. So we'll put in the specifications of the grid, 56 minimum for lean meat yield and 59 for the MSA index. So we've got quite a number of lambs that are meeting that specification on yield and eating quality. So they are eating well and they are yielding well at the same time. And as Pete showed before, we want more of these lambs, and we want to breed and select for more of these lambs. They do exist, and we need to keep our eye on the ball, not just for eating quality or just for one trait. We need to have a collective approach to our breeding systems and our breeding objectives. So rather than trying to put all the different colours and vendors on the same picture, we've split them all out. So each one of these boxes is a different vendor or lot. And I'll just pick out a couple of these vendors and circle them, where they've got the high eating quality and the high yield, so the high MSA index and the higher yield. I've got a couple of these slides, and each one of those picks is in the same position, so try to remember the ones that I'm circling. But the other factor that drives productivity, as we touched on, is feedlot performance. So how did they perform as far as growth and eating quality as well? The average was 0.29 average daily gain, and putting in that 59 MSA index. So we had a number of lambs that grew well, and they ended up eating well as well. And again, we want more of these lambs to perform as a live animal and perform in the carcass. And here's those picks broken out by different colours again, and they're all in the same position. And just want to pick out again a couple of different vendors, and funnily enough, that one up in the top corner and that light green one, they're actually the same producers that I circled before as well. So obviously people are making conscious selection decisions to drive not just one trait but multiple traits. So in summary, we saw a fair range in the feedlot performance, particularly in the average daily gain, and also that carcass compliance. There is variation in eating quality. We saw it in this competition. The benchmarking we do across the industry, we see even more variation. We're seeing over 30 points just in the loins alone. So consumers can tell the difference between pretty average lamb and pretty supreme lamb that we're seeing out there. And importantly, there are lambs that eat well, they yield well, and they grow. So thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Fabulous insight into a bit of analysis of the data that we collected over those lambs through it. Now, I know that everyone here at LambEx, and the reason you're here is because of this, and there's certainly quite a few producers in the room that are hanging on Chris Taylor's announcement. So I'll call up Chris Taylor to announce the winners.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I'll just start off by saying how it's a real treat for AMPC to be the sponsor this year of the LambEx Feedlot Carcase competition. For me, these awards are really a celebration of our strong and increasing performance of lamb production across Australia. And of course, the performance has been measured by a range of innovative technologies in some of Australia's greatest processing establishments. So for me, it's really a symbol of the strengthening of Australia's value chain in this case. When we look at the processing sector alone, we know that we support over 135,000 jobs across the country. So it's great to know that not just are we producing a better performing product at the end of the day, but we're also supporting Australian families back here on country. So I'll jump into the awards now. We have 6 different awards that I'll be announcing. Can I just ask that anyone that receives an award this afternoon, if you could just remain seated during the session today and come up at the front of the stage towards the end where you can collect your awards and take some photos. So first off, we have, sponsored by Trans Australia, the lamb feedlot with the highest average daily gain. And in third place, we have Manyonda Pastoral Trust. Congratulations. And in runner-up place, North Stirling Downs Proprietary Limited. Congratulations. And the winner of the highest average daily gain award this year, a big round of applause. Please join me. It's Casna Park. Congratulations. So Casna Park is represented by Cameron McPherson, and he's really prioritised structural composition and early finishing for yield. And this particular team achieved a score of 370 grams per day average daily gate weight. So that's fantastic results. Congratulations. The second award is sponsored by Nutrien Wool, and this is for the team with the most valuable wool clip. Now, in third place, we have Alan C. Jacker and Sons. Congratulations. In runner-up position, Carradale Trading. Well done. And the winner of the Most Valuable Wool Clip Award, a big round of applause for Pepper Wells Partners. On to the third award. We're ripping through these this afternoon. Sponsored by Thornby, the next award's for the overall highest performing feedlot lamb team. In third position, we have North Stirling Downs Proprietary Limited. Congratulations. The runner-up, Monopilla Estate Proprietary Limited. And the winner of this award category is the Stopp Family Trust. Congratulations. Represented by Samantha Stopp, this entry focuses on fast-growing, good-shaped lambs that target their weights nicely, nice and early. Award number 4, sponsored by Meat and Livestock Australia. This award's for the team with the highest MSA sheep meat index. In third place, if my clicker works, Yama Trust, Morella Merinos. Congratulations. The runner-up today, GW and CL Clothier and Sons. Congratulations. And please join me in a big round of applause for the winner of this award today, Baruka Trading Trust. Congratulations. The fifth award, today sponsored by Thomas Food International, is for the highest overall carcass performance. And we saw some really terrific results, courtesy of Dave's presentation earlier. In third place, we have a familiar name. Again, it's Yama Trust with Victorian Merinos. In the runner-up position today, join me in a round of applause for Baruka Trading Trust. And another familiar name, the winner of this category is Baruka Trading Trust. Well done. Okay. Now finally, we have the AMPC Award for Australia's top performing lamb producer. This award judges both performance in the feedlot but also in the carcass. And the top few results I've seen, it was a really tight competition. So without further ado, I'll jump into third place. Third place for this award, we have Baruka Trading Trust. The runner-up position, and this was a very tightly contested first and second, I can confirm. Runner-up is Baruka Trading Trust. Now the big question is, who's going to take out the top gong? So the winner of this category demonstrated solid early growth, strong wool performance, and achieved really excellent carcass scores. They scored a total of 83.2 out of a potential 100 points. And I think we can call for a drum roll for this announcement. There we go. And the winner is Yama Trust, Victorian Merinos. Congratulations. Ricky, come on down and we'll hand you your award in person, if you're here. There he is. Nope. Congratulations. No worries at all. Here we go. Oh, that's fine. Get it. Yeah, sure. Yep.
What a night here, Jace. Got the 3 merinos up there, a few merino breeders up there. How good's that in a carcass trial? That's a win. That is a very good win. I'll be quick. The sponsors setting up, Mark there at Thomas Foods and AMPC and LambEx, and especially Thornby, the team. The day we went there to look at the rams, you see the passion in Thornby. Like, it was awesome. They were passionate about their lamb and did a good job. Getting emotional. Thanks. Cheers.
Great. Congratulations. Thank you. Terrific. Well, thank you to all of the entrants and congratulations to all of the winners. And we'll hand back to our MC now. Thank you.